So Microsoft Teams is coming to Linux. What does that mean for us? Hi, and welcome to Fairly Basic Tech. This is just a video where I'm going to kind of ramble. Let's take a look here. I'll bring up this screen while it's going, and you can look at Microsoft's nice little video advertising their Teams product. Now, it was just announced yesterday and released right away that Microsoft has released their Teams software into the Linux environment. They have downloads for Debian and RPM packages. It's also available in the Arch user repository because they're fast like that. If you're on an Arch-based system, that is the quickest way to get it installed and get it working. It's currently in public preview, so it's not a finalized version, but honestly, it looks pretty much like the Windows version. It's Microsoft's business chat software, basically. It will be taking the place of Skype for Business in a future release of Office. Right now, they're both running side by side. Skype has been a very useful tool for a lot of people for a very long time. Teams is not quite as popular. Microsoft claims that there are millions and millions and millions of daily active users. They're really only active because Teams will pop up on you when you log into any Office application for the first time that day. One of the most popular searches related to Teams on Google is, how do I stop Microsoft Teams from starting? It's a little intrusive. It's not great. But it is the future. I mean, apps like this are absolutely necessary, and they're what are going to drive businesses going forward. People don't need to write complete emails to communicate simple ideas. They can just write a small little post and have everyone on their team see it, get the message across. It is a very useful way of collaborating. But the question is Microsoft Teams going to be the answer? The more popular chat business software in the tech industry is currently Slack. Slack is a strong product. It does everything that Teams does, and it does it better. The question is, will that be enough for users to adopt it over Teams? The better product doesn't always win out. The fact is, most everybody uses Microsoft Office to some degree or another, and if Teams is pre-installed on it, for a lot of businesses, they'll just go with what they already have. So it's kind of a big deal that Microsoft is deciding to port this over to Linux. Now, what that means is if you go to the Microsoft Teams website, it recognizes that I'm using Linux, so it pops up these two download options. It doesn't recognize that I'm using Arch and that I don't need these download options. For anybody else, you'll go down here, and it's available on basically every major platform, and that's the idea. Microsoft wants you to be able to communicate with your team regardless of what device you're using. That is smart on their part. Microsoft, like many businesses, sees the future as a world of services. Windows 10 is being developed as a service. Windows 10, they're claiming, is the last version of Windows. It will just continue to get updated incrementally over time. They have those big updates. The track record on whether those work well out of the gate is spotty, but their idea is that we'll just continue to update the existing system, and you'll continue to pay for a license to use it. Businesses pay annual license. Well, I don't want to get into how complicated Microsoft's licensing system is, but suffice it to say that businesses are paying regularly for their Windows machines and their Windows Server machines. Those licenses aren't cheap for businesses, and they are required on a regular basis. And Office works the same way. So if you use Microsoft Office, you know that they're pushing this Office 365 even for home users. You can pay a large sum of money to install Microsoft Office, or you can pay a small monthly fee to continue to use Office as long as you keep that subscription up. That's the idea, that they want you to continue to pay. As a Linux user, I balk at that a little bit because I'm getting accustomed to having quality products for free, where there's no subscription, there's no upfront fee. I just get these softwares that work, and they work really well. Now, the catch to that is Microsoft is the king of Office products. I'll talk crap about Windows any day, but the truth is, my last video that I posted was about alternatives to Microsoft Office that are available on Linux. They're all quality products. None of them are as good as Microsoft Office. I will admit that. Microsoft Office is a monster, and it's absolutely dominant in business, and for professionals that need those applications at home, it's dominant at home too. Now, here's the other thing about Teams. It's basically just a web page, right? It's wrapped up in this pretty little package that makes it look like an application, but what it's running behind the scenes is basic web code. And honestly, that's where Microsoft is headed with all of their Office applications. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next major release of Microsoft Office, which I would expect is going to be 2022, if all of the applications were written in basic web code that was functionally similar, or maybe even functionally better than what's available right now in Office 2019 or Office 365, whatever you want to call it. The 2022 version will likely be available on Linux as well. Nobody really wants to place their bets on that. It may not be, but I wouldn't be surprised one bit. So yeah, this is big news for us in the Linux community. This is big news that Microsoft is actually playing nice with Linux. They have been for a little while now. They've released PowerShell for Linux. They have Linux machines available in their Azure cloud. There's a Linux subsystem available in Windows 10. So yeah, they're at least playing the part of a company that is becoming operating system agnostic, even though they own the dominant operating system, because they know in the future the OS is a small piece of the pie for them. If they can get people everywhere paying for services on their devices, they're going to do it. So I've linked below to several articles about this Teams release. Again, I'm not crazy about the product, but it is what it is. This blog post here was the big announcement. Basically, all of the articles are taking quotes out of this blog post and what it means. I would open up Teams and give you a little demonstration about it, but as it turns out, my company is not using it. So when I log in with my business address, I get a message that says, "Your company is not currently using Teams. Please ask your admin to start using it." Yeah, I'm not going to do that. When I log in with my personal account, it says, "You are not using Teams right now. Please, but you can create a Teams account for your business." I'm not going to do that either. I don't have a business. I mean, this YouTube thing is just me, and I don't need to communicate with anybody, especially not with Teams. I've used Slack a little bit before. It's the platform. I've trained using CBTNuggets.com, their website. There's a free plug for them if anyone cares. They're great videos to teach you all kinds of IT related stuff. And they have a Slack community that connects the students with the teachers there. That's pretty cool. It's really easy to use. It's awful handy, and it's a nice way to see discussions that are happening. Teams basically does the same thing. Slack has some features that the Teams doesn't, and Slack has a little bit of a cool factor for whatever that's worth in the tech community. Whether that's enough to have them win over Teams in the long run, we won't know until time passes. All right, so that's enough of that. I'll put some links below. I think this is good news for Linux. I think if Microsoft brings all of their applications over to Linux, which I expect will happen within the next few years, then that is one less reason for people to stay away from it. Whether Linux will ever really break through into the mainstream on people's personal computers, I don't really know, but the barriers to use are coming down. It's becoming much easier to use. It's very available. And yeah, this is just part of that. Get Microsoft Office on there. Why not switch to Linux? I could give you reasons, but that's for another video. I think the fact that Microsoft is embracing Linux is a very good thing, and I'll just leave it at that. Let me know what you think below. Thank you.